Okay, let me, because Barb, this is typical Barb, okay? It's important to understand that Barb has been more involved in keeping Bend a beautiful place throughout, basically, her time here than anybody else. She's attended almost all of the most boring city council meetings you've ever seen. You can ask her any question on zoning, growth, laws, policy that involve Bend, and she can tell you what it's all about. So, you know, I mean, I think that's the best way to describe her. So that's the sort of, I mean, you know, you don't, after she's done it for so long, she doesn't remember all the neat things she's done, but I can remember. I just love going up there playing at Todd Lake and everything, and yeah, it was because of Barb. And as a matter of fact, we have a whole lot of forest, and we've saved Shevlin Park, and Barb was involved in that, and I was too. So that it's been an ongoing process, basically, us against people who wanted to pack in as many houses and make as much money as they can off our city.
This is a West Side neighborhood where the houses have been placed far too close, with very little land around them, and give an extremely crowded effect. And it was also built in what had been a nursery where the developers stripped 10 feet of topsoil off in order to sell it, and it does flood in the winter. This is a development just down the street from the first one that was begun and has been forced to close down in the recession. There are only 4 homes built in this, and this shows you what is happening during this housing downturn, and the fact that people have had amounts of money, huge amounts of money invested, but are unable to continue. There are no buyers. As you can see from these posts, these sale posts, you can see how close these houses are going to be. They are also going to be very expensive. This is typical of building in Bend, which is to build the greatest house you can for the greatest profit, and does not really consider the livability of residents in this area. All right, this is an area into which a great deal of thought for livability has gone in. It has a marvelous view of the mountain. In contrast to the previous 2 developments, this one has been very carefully planned. It overlooks Shevlin Park, has trails next to it and through it. The houses are relatively far apart, and they've been planned in clusters to leave most of the land open. It has been given a great deal of thought for the residents' future. I wish more developments could be made like this, with this much thought for the future of Bend.
And how will it benefit the residents to have it spaced out like that?
This gives everybody the sense of being out of doors and having a great deal of privacy. And at the same time, it's very simple, and it has not been cluttered up with a lot of residential gewgaws, such as fancy signs and too many fences and walls. And also has great benefit of having each house planned differently and separately from the others. I know this is a luxury, but it's something that we need on the edge of Bend, and also is of great benefit to continue the use for animals of the wildlife corridor that runs through here.
So, okay, now this neighborhood.
This neighborhood was originally to have been planned like the one you just saw, but the developer changed his mind and maximized the number of houses allowed. This is more of the development on the left that is right next to the well-planned open space neighborhood, and you can see how these huge houses have been placed so close to one another. This neighborhood had the potential of the other one that we just saw, with the same views, but has, again, as you can see, has chosen density over livability and more open space. Tighter housing, more expensive houses.
And how will it hurt the residents?
This, I do believe, gives them a little more togetherness than most people would like. And in the old parts of Bend, you can see even the small houses have more openness between them than these new houses do. It's a question of maximizing space for the developer. We are now in West Bend Village, which is, most people would not even recognize it as a subdivision, but it is. And as you can see, it looks like the rest of Old Bend. It's been beautifully planned, no fences. A great many trees have been left. The houses are in scale with their lots, which most houses nowadays are not. And probably of all the subdivisions that have been built in Bend in the last 15 years, has the highest rate of livability. We are now looking at houses that overlook the old mill, and an extremely busy and very noisy place. This wall covers a transformer station, which is obvious and open to all these in views of these extremely expensive homes. We're now on the roundabout that forms the start of Reed Market Road and is generally, although not at this hour, way too crowded with cars backed up.
And how is that a problem in Bend?
The Reed Market Road is now the main east-west connection road in the middle to south part of Bend, and is heavily overused at this point, yet the city still keeps adding building permits and allowing development to go on, even though the roads can no longer contain them, the cars that come onto the roads. The problem with adding housing is that there are 2 cars average for every home, adding 10 average daily trips for those 2 cars to all the others that are already on the roads in Bend. Here's an example of what is happening to our schools to keep up with growth today. In order to accommodate the extra children added, the schools have not been able to keep up with building the number of buildings they should, so they add modulars or they're double classroom buildings, which we do not consider at all safe for children, in order to allow the developers to keep on going without the schools keeping up with them.